I met him at a coffee shop on a beautiful summer day. I was grabbing a quick coffee before heading to work when his piercing blue eyes caught my attention. He was sitting by the window, reading a book, and there was something about him that made me feel drawn to him. I couldn't resist the urge to approach him and strike up a conversation. We talked about books, movies, and our favorite coffee blends. He was charming and witty, and I was immediately drawn to his personality. We exchanged numbers before I left the coffee shop, and I couldn't help but feel excited about the possibility of seeing him again. We started dating, and every moment spent with him was magical. He showered me with love and affection, and I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. He took me on romantic dates to the beach and the park and to try new restaurants. He was always surprising me with small gestures of love, like bringing me my favorite flowers or cooking me breakfast in bed. Every time I was with him, I felt like I was on top of the world. He made me feel special and appreciated, and I was smitten by his love. We talked about our hopes, dreams, and aspirations, and I felt like we had a deep connection. I was in love, and I knew that he felt the same way. However, as time went by, I noticed a change in him. His passion for me seemed to fade, and he was no longer the man I fell in love with. He became distant and aloof, and I found myself wondering what went wrong. I tried to talk to him about his behavior, but he would always brush it off and tell me that he was just tired from work. I knew that something was wrong, but I couldn't seem to get him to open up to me. I felt like I was losing him, and it was breaking my heart. I decided to confront him about his behavior, and we sat down for a heart-to-heart conversation. I expressed my concerns and told him that I felt like he was pulling away from me. He finally opened up and admitted that he was no longer attracted to me. He said that the spark was gone, and he couldn't pretend anymore. I was devastated by his confession, and I felt like my heart had been shattered into a million pieces. I couldn't believe that our love story was coming to an end, and I was filled with regret and sadness. I took some time to heal from the heartbreak and decided to focus on myself. I took up a new hobby, started exercising, and worked on improving my self-confidence. I surrounded myself with positive friends and family, and I made a conscious effort to be kind to myself. I realized that I was worth more than the pain and heartbreak that he had caused me, and I made a vow to never let someone treat me that way again. I was determined to heal and move forward with my life. Several months later, I ran into him at a local bar. We started talking, and I was amazed at how much he had changed. He was no longer distant and aloof. Instead, he was charming, attentive, and full of life. He apologized for the way he had treated me, and I could see the regret in his eyes. We reconnected that night, and our love rekindled. I found myself falling for him all over again, and I couldn't resist the pull between us. We started dating again, and it was like we had never been apart. Our love was stronger than ever before, and I was grateful to have a second chance with him. However, as time passed, I started to notice red flags in our relationship. He was constantly canceling our plans, and I felt like I was always making excuses for him. He became distant again, and I was starting to feel like I was losing him once more. I tried to talk to him about his behavior, but he would always shut down the conversation and tell me that I was overreacting. I was starting to feel like I was going crazy, and I couldn't understand why he was acting this way. One day, I decided to follow him, and I was shocked by what I discovered. He was meeting with another woman, and they were sharing an intimate moment. I felt like I had been punched in the gut, and I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. I confronted him about the other woman, and he finally admitted that he had been seeing her behind my back. He said that he was no longer attracted to me and that he had been searching for someone who could fulfill his needs. I was devastated by his admission, and I felt like my heart had been broken all over again. I made the difficult decision to end the relationship for good. I couldn't bear the thought of being with someone who didn't love and appreciate me for who I was. I focused on healing and moving on with my life. I surrounded myself with positive people, took up new hobbies, and worked on becoming the best version of myself. I was determined to never let someone treat me that way again, and I was grateful for the lessons that this relationship had taught me. Years went by, and I was doing well for myself. I had a successful career, a loving family, and great friends. I was content with my life and had finally moved on from my past relationship. However, on the day of my wedding, as I was walking down the aisle, I was stunned to see him standing at the altar waiting for me. He explained that he had never stopped loving me and that he had been searching for me ever since we had broken up. He said that he was ready to be the man I deserved and that he wanted to spend the rest of his life making it up to me. I was shocked by his admission, and I didn't know what to do. I had moved on with my life, and I was happy, but a part of me still loved him. As I stood there, I realized that my attraction for him had never faded, and I decided to take a leap of faith and start a new life with him. Thank you so much for listening. While this narrative is only a fictionalized version of an event, we hope you found it entertaining. Please consider liking the video and do subscribe for more interesting and intriguing stories from me. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and know that you are appreciated.